Let us be happy together, whether the weather is cloudy or sunny. I will always be your funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky. Let us get lucky together, whether the weather is cloudy or breezy. I'll be there to say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. 'Cause isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo. I am smiling, you are smiling. Let us smile together, whether the weather is cloudy or stormy. I will still be there in the morning. I'll be right by your side in the morning. I'll make you breakfast in the morning. I hope that you like cereal.
Yay!
Yay,
So,
Kate McCucci.
yay. Yes, lovely. So we have questions from the chat, and I've been barraging you with questions of my own. So let's get to theirs.
All right, let's go for it.
All right,
Sure.
some of these are from last week as well. So I've got Daphne Farmer, who super chatted because she wanted to congratulate you on your MSNBC spot. And also said, can you ask about the decoy HIMARS and their importance right now in helping deplete Russian missiles?
Oh, there's apparently some inflatable HIMARS. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's inflatable. There might be fiberglass. Whatever it is, yeah. I think there's a whole program of trying to fool them into shooting at stuff that isn't actually HIMARS. Yeah, absolutely. A long history of that kind of stuff. Let's go for it.
Awesome. Andrea, our very own Andrea, has a question. Does Phil work? I don't know if you can answer this. Does Phil work with the Ukraine's secret resistance at all? Are the journalists that are in hiding sharing what's really going on with the Russian people still operating?
If she's referring to what's happening on the other side of the military lines, like into Kherson, I have no direct contact with any of those guys. But there's a whole bunch of those guys who are working. Richard Ingalls did a really good report about that, about how folks who were behind the lines in Kherson did an awful lot of work to undermine the Russians. And look, there's no doubt in my mind, but that's happening all throughout occupied Ukraine. So, but I have no contact with them.
There's also, by the way, there are ongoing maps that if you look at them, they will show you not only the area seized by the Russians or the Ukrainians and where the ongoing fighting is, but you'll often see the pockets of resistance, the geographic areas where Ukrainians inside the Donbass have regained a lot of territory. In the beginning, we saw it as like a little spot. It has spidered out in the northern part of the land that connects Crimea to the mainland. There's a lot more of it, which people find, strategically very interesting. We'll see what that results in, but they think it's part of an idea that they could, basically cut off Crimea from support in the north, and that drawing people to Bakhmut might be the purpose might be to thin out that area above Crimea as far as war fighters. Okay, what do you got, Johnny?
I've got, Mr. Spock wants to know, are there any discotheques still open in Kiev?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, no, there's huge. Yeah, no, look, I mean, Kiev is functioning pretty much at full capacity. Well, I say full capacity. It's functioning very well. Nightclubs, bars, restaurants, all going on. Yeah.
Nice. Connie Kelly asks, ask Philip what a group of young engineering students can do to help the war effort.
Young engineering students in America, they can help make alternative mods for drones to help them drop munitions if they want. They can, draft up that kind of stuff. And although the Ukrainians are very good at it, engineering is a very popular area of study here in Ukraine. It's a good question. That's just off the top of my head. I would say, any kind of thing that they can drum up to help people, put things together, to jerry-rig things so that they can more effectively transport items, more effective. If you don't want to do active fighting, or don't want to help, drop munitions on Russians, which I have no problem with. But if that's a decision every individual needs to make. But draw up plans for how to jerry rig kit to put onto vehicles to carry more supplies, or to evacuate the wounded.
Maybe
I mean, there's
learn
101
Ukrainian
different
and
ideas, but
they could also learn Ukrainian, learn the language, and then plan to be part of the rebuild afterwards as engineers, because that'll certainly be necessary. I wouldn't doubt.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Contribute.
Another great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Let's keep going, Johnny, while we still have them.
Yep.
So we got Ed's 3D Tech asks, how many Leopards and Bradleys have reached the Ukraine so far?
I would estimate it's probably in the high 3 digits. Well, I say high 3 digits. I'd say it's somewhere between 100 and 200 right now. Would be my bet. Maybe a little under. Huh? It's not a massive amount, and they're not going to get, ultimately they're looking to get around 300, 400 of them. That's what they'd like to get their hands on. My bet is it's somewhere around the 100, maybe give or take on either side. But that is pure speculation on my part, because that is top secret. They are not going to reveal that number in any significant way. But also keep in mind that it's not just tanks; it's also the Bradleys that are going to be needed. And they did put out some interesting training video of them doing combined arms training, using infantry fighting vehicles and main battle tanks, and that's going to be a huge game changer for the Ukrainians. But the sheer numbers, my guesstimate is around 100, fudging on either side, but it's such a closely guarded secret.
Yeah.
By the way, France, I guess, agreed 2 days ago to transfer their Mirage fighters, their fighter jets, to Ukraine as well. So the concern about, like, we need jets and we need fighter planes, they're getting some from France now, as well as getting the Polish ones, the Soviet-made ones that they'd had before, and those kind of planes. So that was an addition this week. Probably out of the Munich gathering, and what we're going to see is some of that stuff start rolling out, the decisions being made as they assess what they've got, what they can give, what they have. Yeah.
Here's another one. Mary P. asks, they really want to know what's going on with the nuclear plants in Ukraine. Would you ask Philip Ittner about that, please? That's you.
Well, the biggest concern is Zaporizhzhia. Zaporizhzhia is a huge concern also because there's a big issue with rivers down near Kherson and in the Zaporizhzhia area, because there's a whole bunch of tributaries that break off from the Dnieper River, and they flow into the Black Sea, and there is concern that the dam control of those tributaries, which is at a choke point at the Dnieper right outside of Kherson, that they might start mucking around with the dam controls, as far as maybe even blowing up the dam. There's been talk of that. That then would affect the power plants, because they wouldn't be able to get the cyclical water that they need to do to cool the heating rods, and you might see a meltdown. But as far as like fighting around Zaporizhzhia, while that has happened in the past, while that is still a possibility, while the Russians are definitely, if there is a Kherson offensive that involves Zaporizhzhia, which inevitably it will, they will use the Zaporizhzhia power plant as a base of operations for just that reason. But nobody wants to see the Zaporizhzhia power plant blow up. The Russians don't want to see it, and of course the Ukrainians don't either, because then you would have radioactive waste going out into the Black Sea. And in addition to that, both sides want to have that power plant. It's intrinsic for power generation. If the Russians conquer it, they're going to need that. Yeah.
Right. the threat of blowing it up is always just one of the, the ways that Russia scares everyone.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
lot of that, it's been about that.
Yeah.
By the way, and I don't know if I'll pronounce this right, in Ulyanovsk, in Russia, there was where they build some of their bigger military planes or whatever. One of their newest, biggest bombers exploded in the hangar, killing. Apparently, they said killing one person. I wouldn't doubt it was more, but whatever. Blew up the hangar itself and the testing facility around it. That's not. Maybe sabotage is a possibility, but I feel like you have to chalk that up to Russians smoking too close to the flame again. But it's an ongoing issue. There's, like why complain about the size of your bulletproof vest when you keep shooting yourself in the leg? Is part of what's going on with Russia, and it's there have been a bunch of those, which makes it look hinky. There's been a bunch of planes blowing up, and that so a couple of them have been hit by drones or a single drone, but civilian drones. The question is, again, we're not getting full reports of all that stuff happening. What they do have is a bunch of men that they can throw at the meat grinder for a while until they run out. They're running out of ammo, and their planes are blowing up, and they're telling their own businesses to buy anti-aircraft and anti-drone machinery to protect themselves. As we walk towards this, and I want to remind everybody, because we're coming up near the end of the show, thanks, Philip, for being with us today. Really greatly appreciated. Follow him on Twitter, 1L, 2 T's, and Ittner, Philip Ittner, at Johnny Million for Johnny Million, at Hal Sparks, if you want to follow that thing around. We will be doing, Philip will be joining me if he's available on Wednesday on my live stream at Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, if you want to listen in on that for our kind of midweek report. And as we lead up, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. There's a lot going on right now. There's literally a flood of news happening every single day. And we want to keep you up to date as best we can. Johnny Million, you're awesome. Everybody subscribe to Twitch. Follow twitch.tv/It's Johnny Million and subscribe. Subscribe to twitch.tv/Hal
I'll get Hal in there
Help us all
sooner or
out.
later.
That's right. We're going to make it happen. Appreciate you guys. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, because we're right
Thanks,
at the tail end
Chicago.
of the show. Thanks so much.